Sparring Club is coming. November 14th, London. Mark your diary. See you there, you f***ing tart.
Boxing King Media, we've just seen the press conference for EUBANK Junior, Conor Benn to conclude. What did you make of it, Spence? In fact, before I talk about that, I think we need to, because people are going to be looking at your cap, your shades, making comment on it, so tell them what you're wearing, or what's it all about?
I'm wearing clothes, sir. That's what I'm wearing. And yeah.
All right, I thought he was going to say more. Spence is wearing his clothes. So, what did you make of that? I thought there might be more, but there wasn't a lot going on today.
There wasn't, because I believe that both men want to fight. I thought what Eddie Hearn did with the cue cards was very, very funny. But we know, like, here are two young men. Well, no, Chris is not that young, but two young men that know that they're going to go and participate in proper battle. And I think it's going to be a very, very good fight. I really do think it's going to be a good fight.
What do you make of this whole thing about Senior getting paid and not? Obviously, they addressed it today. Would you believe, basically?
I know Chris Senior not to be a liar. He's been a long time friend, but in saying that, Nigel's been a long time friend. So where Nigel got his information from, Nigel just ran with that. Said, "Well, you got paid to come in, didn't you?" And then Chris was like, "No, whoever said that is a liar." So on that, those things don't bother me. Even if they did pay Chris Senior to turn up, so what? But I know the fullness of it, and I'm sure I spoke about this with you on your channel. What happened was, 2 days before the fight, Johnny Nelson, former WBO World Cruiserweight Champion, phones me, literally in tears, saying, "Chris has got to be there, man. He's got to be there, because if something was to happen to his son, he would never forgive himself," right? And then he goes, "Give me his number," because he can change his number. Chris changes his number quite regular, right? So I give him his new number. Johnny had a word with him. This is the day before the fight. He has a word with him. But then I know, like, it's his other son, Nathaniel, that spoke to his dad and saying that, "Dad, you got to be there." And I don't think his dad even decided to go, because I spoke to Chris Senior 2 days before the fight, and he was adamant. I said, "Listen, I'll never tell a grown man what to do, but you know what? It's your son. You should go." He goes, "Spencer, I'm standing on the side of righteousness." And he goes on, right? There he goes. So I was amazingly shocked when I sat ringside, and big up Napa because he gave me my tickets, when he came in. So I'm saying this: if he got paid or he didn't get paid, so what? I'm going to be real with you, because because that was the picturesque scene of the fight, and everybody thinking, well, the dad turned up. But the dad, I know him not to be a liar. So he said, like, nobody paid me, and Nigel, you should expose those, or you are a liar. That's what he said. But Nigel's thinking, "Look, I don't get involved with that, mate. Look, I said what I said." Right, great. But I'm saying I would more believe Chris Eubank Senior, and knowing that in this game there's a lot of misinformation that goes around, than for Chris Senior to turn around and say, "I wasn't paid." But Nigel hearing it said, "Yeah, you got paid then." You know what I mean? You should have been there from your son from the get-go. Like, he's questioning his morality. And so, yeah, it was.
We've got that corrected. Let's talk about the fight. We don't need to go into no big breakdowns, but I think the basic thing is, who wins this fight? I spoke to Domingo, and he said an interesting point that I want to ask you about. He said Chris can only get worse, he can't get better. But he also said Conor can't get any better. That was his maximum. So he reckons it's the same result on points, because Conor can't get any better.
I don't believe that Conor can't get any better. What I'm saying is this: I don't think that it's going to be as good a fight as the first fight. I don't. I think technically it's going to be a better fight than the first fight. And you know me, I love analyzing and seeing the technicalities of it. If you look at the two men and what they bring, if you're watching the first fight, Conor didn't keep his shape throughout the fight. Conor was fighting with the arms wide like he's trying to be an airplane, right? simply because he's fighting on pent-up aggression. So with that, your game plan really goes out the window because you're thinking to yourself, you're going to think, I'm going to knock you out in 3 rounds. If Conor Benn administers the body attack early with a man that is struggling as you get older, it's getting hard to cut to make weight. It's going to have a telling effect later on down the line. But you was at the presser, not the presser, but the public workout. Chris looks very relaxed. Do you know what I mean? And I remember last time out when I seen Chris, he looked very drained. He doesn't look drained anymore. He doesn't look drained. I don't know how he's done his weight, but he doesn't look drained. But I'm not going off of that. I'm saying, do you have the skill? Because this is about skill. It's not about who's bigger than the other guy. Lloyd Hannigan, former undisputed world welterweight champion, say it's never if you're big enough, it's whether you're good enough. I believe if Conor administers a body attack early, in the later rounds now, it will have a telling effect, especially if he keeps his shape and doesn't fight so wide. Because you're the smaller man anyway, but you're giving away so much height by having the wide stance because you're going lower. But with Chris EUBANK Jr., he was popping at the jab, but there wasn't much authority on his jab in the first fight. This time now, if he makes the weight properly, I think he's going to be an authoritarian with his jab alone, and especially if Conor, like you heard Tony Sims saying, like we've made adjustments. I hope those adjustments is his shape and how he holds his hands. If he holds his hands correctly, because he's setting himself up to be popped with a jab, but also as he pops, he leans over, and he's leaning over to a right uppercut. And if Chris has studied that, that's the thing that he could be throwing. I don't want to turn around and say like, right, I just know it's going to be technically a better fight. It has to be technically a better fight because of the energies of what's going on. Because anybody who's boxed and has come second best, at the time when they've come second best, they go back to the change room and say to themselves, oh shit, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have done da-da-da. Now you have a unique team to rectify that. But I really do believe that this fight technically is going to be a far better fight than the last fight. Maybe not be as exciting, but technically I think it's going to be very, very technical.
Who wins?
I'll let you know, and I mean this, and not me bottling either. I'll let you know after the weigh-in, because I really want to see the weigh-in. I really do, right? But realistically, you have to favor Chris to come out victorious. But the thing is, we don't know what that fight did to either of these guys, because that fight was a hard fight. We don't know. So this is the thing that I'm saying, right, because it was a hard 12 rounds. Let's see, because we don't know what reverberations it had on the body, but we sit with bated breath. And the thing about it is this, if it is a really good fight, I'd like to see a trilogy. And that's the truth. So you never know. This is boxing, bro.
Let's see what happens. Spence, thank you. We're only going to keep it about this fight today, and we'll talk about the other stuff hopefully another time.
Come on,
thank you.
definitely.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Sparring Club is coming. November 14th, London. Mark your diary. See you there, you f***ing tart.